My 6-year-old daughter and I lived in a shelter while my parents rented out the house then. My name is Aisha. I am a 32-year-old single mother, and my 6-year-old daughter, Noor, is my entire world. This is the story of how my own parents let my little girl and me struggle in a shelter, while they made money from the very house that legally belonged to me. Everything started when I lost my job. Bills piled up, and one night I received a notice from my landlord: pay rent in 7 days or vacate the apartment. With nowhere else to go, I went to my parents' house, the house my grandmother had left in my name years ago. I thought I would find support, maybe comfort. But instead, my mother said in a cold, flat tone, "We already rented the house out. We needed money." My father added casually, "You can stay in a shelter for a while. The government will help you." My heart sank. My own parents were refusing to let me stay in my own house. I felt something break inside me. Holding Noor's tiny hand, I left the house with tears burning in my eyes. The shelter was loud, crowded, and freezing at night. Noor would curl up next to me and ask, "Mama, when are we going home?" I would force a smile and lie, "Soon, my love. Mama just needs to find a new job." One afternoon, a social worker named Sarah approached me. She had kind eyes and a calm voice. "Aisha, your situation seems temporary. You're educated and well-spoken. I can arrange a job interview for you." After weeks of hopelessness, her words felt like sunlight breaking through clouds. I finally felt a little spark of hope. Thanks to Sarah, I got an interview at a hotel management company. I dropped Noor off at the shelter's daycare and took a bus to the interview. The manager was impressed with my resume. A few days later, he called, "You're hired." The salary wasn't great, but it was enough to breathe again. Within 2 weeks, I found a small room to rent. Noor and I moved out of the shelter. I truly believed life was getting better. But the nightmare wasn't over. It was just beginning. One evening, my old neighbor Neha messaged me, "Aisha, your parents are renovating your house. Luxury remodeling. Expensive stuff." My heart skipped a beat. Why would they invest so much money? The next day, I went to check discreetly. I froze in place. New tiles. Fresh paint. Interior designers. Electricians. Furniture wrapped in plastic. Chandeliers. The house looked like it was being prepared for elite tenants, the kind who pay over a lakh per month. I stormed inside. My father looked startled. "Aisha, what are you doing here?" I tried to keep my voice calm. "Dad, why are you doing renovations without telling me?" My mother came out and said harshly, "We are making the house valuable. We invested money. You couldn't afford to live here anyway." I stared at them in disbelief. "I was living in a shelter with your granddaughter." My mother scoffed. "You should have planned your life better. We can't take responsibility for your mistakes." My hands were shaking. For the first time, I realized. They never saw me as family, just as a property they could profit from. I went straight to a lawyer and showed him the documents proving the house was legally mine. He looked up and said firmly, "Your parents cannot rent, renovate, or profit from the property without your consent. We'll file an immediate injunction." Within 3 days, a legal notice was delivered to my parents. Renovations stopped instantly. My father called me, his voice trembling with anger, "Aisha, why are you humiliating us? What will people say?" I replied calmly, "People didn't matter to you when Noor and I were sleeping in a shelter." He had no answer. A month later, the court made its decision, heavy checkmark, the house is solely mine. Heavy checkmark, my parents must surrender all records of rent. Heavy checkmark, they owe compensation for illegal profit. Heavy checkmark, I can reclaim my property immediately. When I opened the door and walked inside with Noor, she looked around wide-eyed. Mama, is this really our home? I knelt down, hugged her tight, and whispered, yes, sweetheart. This is our home. And we're never going back to the shelter. Tears ran down my face, but this time they weren't tears of pain. They were tears of victory. I stabilized my job. Noor started school. I rented out a spare room legally and on my own terms. My parents have still not apologized. Maybe they never will. But I don't hold anger anymore. Because Noor and I finally have peace, security, and a place to call our own. Sometimes, life pushes you out, so you can find the strength to stand up and take back what was always yours. Life sent us to a shelter, but that shelter gave me the courage to rise again. And in the end, it wasn't just a house I took back. It was my dignity, my future, and my daughter's safety.